Hi everyone, and welcome to week 13 of English 101. So last week you decided on a topic for essay 4. This week we're going to work on outlining and kind of gathering all of the information you're going to need to draft. And I want to specifically talk about finding and citing sources. Although English 101 is not a research writing course, that is covered in depth in English 102. I do recognize that using outside information is something that you've probably encountered before, and some of you may not be taking English 102 in your program, so I always like to kind of incorporate this into the last project in English 101 just to kind of get your feet wet in the process of researching. For our purposes, your focus is still on your own ideas. This is not about finding 6 websites to talk about the topic you've chosen and then let those speak. That's not what this is. What this is a overview of a topic from several perspectives and you using outside information as support, but not as the entirety of your writing. So I want to make that clear before we get started. Your assignments for this week are straightforward. You've got reading reflection 8. It's our second to last one. Woohoo! The essay 4 outline will be due Sunday, and then I do recommend getting your outline in early and starting your draft because this draft is a long one. It's going to be 1,500 words, which equates to roughly 5 to 6 pages double spaced. And I know that's like, oh man, we've only done 3 or 4 pages. Why 5 or 6? Well, when you're taking topics like these and really lengthening them by considering multiple perspectives, it's not uncommon for that to take more time, more space, more words. So if you're kind of like, man, I don't know if I can write that much, you absolutely can. And the more detailed your outline is, the better the draft will go, I promise. So when you are looking for outside information to kind of get started or to gather perspectives on the topic you've chosen, I wanted to talk first about what makes a good source of information. So a lot of people will say, oh, I usually look at the URL. Is it a .gov or a .edu? That's a great place to start, but you want to remember that when you're looking for sources to support your writing, you don't stop there. There are actually 6 different things that you want to look for when you consider a website or a journal article or a news article or a YouTube video for use in academic projects. So in a lot of English classrooms, they use something called the crap test, which is easy to remember because you want to make sure that your sources are not crap. So you want to think first about the timeliness or the currency of the information. How recent is it? A good rule of thumb is that it should be something published within the last 5 years if it's a current topic, and within the last 10 if it's a little older. So if you're researching World War II, obviously some of your sources are going to be older than the last 5 years. But if you were doing your essay on the Will Smith, Chris Rock incident at the Oscars, obviously you don't want sources that are more than even a year old. Next, you want to think about the relevance. So remember your topic and remember that not every website about that topic is good. You want to think about, okay, specifically what perspective am I looking for, and does this source give me that perspective? So for example, if I'm writing about the conflict in Ukraine, I don't just want a website that talks about travel to Ukraine because that's not relevant to the topic I need. Next, you want to ask yourself who the authority is, the source of the information, the author, the publisher, the publication of the information. So can you identify a person? And if you can, what does that person do? If you don't know that, look for the company, the website, the publication information, and then if you don't know what that website does, do some digging. If you cannot find an author and you cannot find information about the website host, then it's probably not a great source. These last 2 are probably the most difficult in my opinion. Accuracy means how reliable and correct the information is. So when I ask, how do you know something is reliable? How do you know it's correct when you're looking for new information that you may not know? A great way to check the reliability of your information is to search around. Are other people saying the same thing? Are other trusted sources saying the same thing? And then finally, you want to think about the purpose, the reason this information exists. So, why is this being put out there in the world? Is it just informative? Is it persuasive? Is it trying to get you to buy something, to click something, to believe something? The information that gets posted online is not all created equal. So you want to really think about all 5 of these things. I think I said 6 earlier, I meant 5. All 5 of these things when you evaluate the sources that you want to use. All right, so when you're looking for information, this is actually a video I'm going to post for your readings this week about selecting and using keywords. So keywords are essentially the words that you plug into Google or another database to get sources and information back. You want to remember that less is more when it comes to keyword searching. If you're typing into Google full sentences, Google probably is okay with the information you're going to get back, but if you do that with an academic database, it will not work. All right, so you really want to think about what words you're using, in what order, and in what way. So this video, the keywords video, I'll post for your readings this week, but just think about, if I'm searching for information about the incident with Will Smith and Chris Rock, I don't want just to Google Will Smith. Maybe I'll get some news about that incident, but I might do Will Smith and Chris Rock. I might do Oscars regulations for fights. I might look at maybe perspectives from Will Smith's wife to, change the words that I'm looking for. So keep that in mind as you go. Once you've found a source, this is so, so important. It's part of your essay for pre-writing this week as well. Take notes as you go. Write down the site, the author, the date, its main points, and then ask yourself, what do I think about this source? What are my feelings about it? If you do this as you go, when you get to write your draft, a lot of what you want to say is already going to be internalized. If you are just kind of keeping tabs open on your laptop, you're not actually internalizing that information. You're not processing it yet. So you're going to get down to your draft and be like, I don't even know what I've looked at. Where was that website? I think I saved it. Or my worst nightmare, your computer, crashes and you lose all your stuff. So part of your pre-writing is going to be actually taking notes on some of the sources you're finding. And the last thing I wanted to do was talk about the library databases, and I'll give you kind of a run through of these. So SWIC has 4 library databases that SWIC pays for and that your fees and tuition as a student help pay for. So you as a student get access to EBSCO, which is a really good, I consider it like an academic Google. It's a very broad database. JSTOR is more historical. Lexis Uni is business and legal sources. And then Opposing Viewpoints is current issues and topics. So EBSCO and Opposing Viewpoints are both pretty good for the Essay 4 we are doing. But let me show you where you can access those. So if you go to the SWIC Library website, you get here, and then if you scroll down to underneath where it says library, there's this little blue box here. So when I talk about using databases, I'm talking about this articles, and here it says selected EBSCO, JSTOR, Nexus Uni, Opposing Viewpoints. So let's see if I want to look for the Ukraine conflict, I would just type that here and hit go. If I'm not on campus, which I'm not right now, it's going to ask for my login information, probably. So slow. Okay, here we go. Yeah, since I'm not on campus, it wants to know that I'm, able to have access to this information, and I am. I do. So once you log in, then you'll get to your results. This one looks interesting, but what you notice is to the left, you can also kind of narrow your search down. Say I want things that are full text, and that means I can access all of the information in it. If I click to open this one, it'll open the PDF for me. And here I have the whole article. what's really great about using these databases is often, depends on the database where it's at, but there are citation tools that you can use. So there's actually, if I scroll over here, this little yellow guy is a citation button. So I can scroll down to my MLA 9th edition and I can literally just copy and paste that into my list of sources. So we are not going to get into as much of the citation, but I do want you to at least be keeping track of the author and the year and the link to the sources that you're finding. So if you take English 102, you'll end up going over a lot more of those specifics of citations. But for us, I just want you to get comfortable finding information. And in English 102, you'll really nail down how to cite it. All right. If you are looking for a template to use for Essay 4, Google Docs and OneDrive both have great article templates. Don't feel like you have to format this like a normal essay would be. You can have a title and pictures. I really encourage that because it's a web article. It's visual as well as written. And then finally, if you are confused about MLA format and how to cite the sources that you're finding or how to quote them in your work, in your draft, then there is a MLA format and sources tab on Blackboard that has lots of resources for you. So use those. They're there for a reason. But for me, what I want you to focus on this week is finding sources and evaluating them based on that crap test. And then as we work with this draft, we'll come back to the specifics of the MLA formatting. So good luck in your search, and I will talk to you soon.